Hey guys, it's UHHS here, and in this video, I played the Destiny 2 beta. I've been playing this since it came out Tuesday, and I just wanted to come out and say what my thoughts are on the content and the weapons and everything that are in the beta. In this video, I use the fusion rifle a lot, and I use it because it's my favorite power weapon out of all of them, except for maybe the rocket, because I haven't used it very much, but you only get one, so I still think the fusion's better. A lot of people say the shotgun's the best, but for me it's the fusion because it has a lot more range, and for me it does a lot more damage than a shotgun would. So I just like the fusion better, and it doesn't charge too slow, so it's not that bad for the charge rate, and you can just completely map people with it. So I feel like if they put in Destiny 2 like this, they're gonna probably have to nerf it quickly, even though they shouldn't, but that's Bungie's way of doing things, so. I mean, I love fusion rifles in the states they're in right now in the beta, but I feel like people are gonna start complaining about the range and the damage at those ranges that it can shoot from. So I love fusions, and this beta is not bad. So right now I'm using the liquid coils, the hit mark, and it has rampages. It's passive perk, and it's the main ingredient fusion. Alright, so now I'm going to switch over and I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the overall beta. So for content in the Destiny 2 beta, we got one strike, which was the inverted spire. We got one story mission, which is Homecoming. And then we got two Crucible game modes with the new control and then Countdown. And then we got the one map for each one of those game modes. And I forget what the two maps are called. So what I think about the beta right now is I feel like it's a good beta. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It definitely has its faults, but it has its good sides too. I feel like it's at least the Crucible right now is better than Destiny 1 because people can ability spam. But for me, I feel like they need to not buff supers, but they need to buff the timer because I don't like it that you may or may not even get one super in a match. So I feel like they need to buff the time just a little bit that you can get one, maybe two supers. Because I've played about maybe around 100 matches so far for the Crucible and the beta, and then for me to get two supers in a match, I think I've gotten two supers in one match. I think two or three games, and only one or two of those I was able to use it. So I would get right at the mark, and that's only because I got orbs. I feel like the grenades and the melee recharge time is fine, and the new ability that you get, those recharges are completely fine. They're pretty good right now. They're good enough to use them, but they're not good enough to spam like they were in Destiny 1. Alright, so now I'm going to switch over to what I think of the weapons in the Destiny 2 beta and Crucible. I think that all the weapons are pretty balanced the way they're supposed to be at their respective ranges, like submachine guns at close range, hand cannons and the range they're supposed to be, scout rifles, etc., etc. They're all pretty balanced, except for the Nightshade. I've been seeing a lot of people using it. I've been using it myself. It's not overpowered or anything, but it's certainly one of the best guns in the beta right now. It's just a really good weapon, and especially since it has the reskin of the reactive reload perk, it'll do a lot of damage with that buff there that it gets. It's not OP by any standards, but it's still a really good weapon. The only thing I feel like could be better in Crucible would be the sidearms. For me, the sidearms just felt clunky. They felt to me almost unusable. For me, they just did no damage, and they just couldn't really do much in PvP. The secondary one was okay, but the primary one, the needle, I believe it had a Future War Cult skin. For me, I couldn't use that gun at all. It just did no damage, and it, for me, I just couldn't use it at all. I'd way rather use something else than the needle. For me personally, I just like to see the diversity in PvP and how everyone's using different weapons. I've seen people use just a collection of stuff. They use submachine gun with an auto rifle, hand cannon with an auto rifle, scout rifle with a hand cannon, just every combination under the sun, and I really like to see this diversity instead of just the same old things that's in Destiny 1, where it's sidearm, icebreaker, hand cannon. That's pretty much about it. I just like to see all the different weapons that people are using now, instead of the same one weapon over and over again. Alright, so we're going to switch over to what I think of the subclasses. We're going to start with the Titan. I feel like for me in PvP, the Striker for me is better than the Sentinel. And don't hate me for this, but for me, I feel like the Striker, the Super for me is better because I don't know why. I just would like the Super better. I don't know if it's because I'm better with the Striker Super or what it is, but for me, it's really hard for me to use Sentinel. I just die out of it. I don't know if I'm using it improperly or what I'm doing with it, that I just don't like it very much in Crucible. But the Sentinel's good, but I just think that the Striker has more advantages than the Sentinel does, even though they're both really good. I just prefer the Striker. Alright, so now we're going to switch over to the Hunter. For me, I would way rather use Golden Gun than Arcstrider. Arcstrider's not a bad super, but for me, the mobility on it is really bad. I try to use it, and I just can't. I just run at somebody, and they just run away, and you can't do anything about it. For me, from the gameplay they showed us before with the Arcstrider, it looked way faster. It was way more mobile than it is now. But for me, and I know a couple of my friends feel the same way, that it's not a bad super, but it needs way better mobility to move around and to get around everywhere. For me, I'd rather just use Golden Gun. Even though the 6-shot isn't the best thing in the world for Crucible, it really doesn't have much armor, and the 6 shots, 2 shots every super, it doesn't one-shot them, which, I get, because 6 shots shouldn't be able to one-shot a super. And finally, the Warlock. For me, both of them were good on the Warlock. I like the Dawnblade and the Nova Bomb. They were both pretty good. For me, it was a situation I was in. If there was a lot of people in one place, I'd probably rather use the Nova Bomb. But if there are a bunch of people spread out, then I'd probably want to use Dawnblade. They're both pretty good supers. But I think in different situations, I'd probably switch it up and change them. Alright, so to wrap things up, I thought the Destiny 2 beta was pretty good overall. The PvP and the PvE were both pretty good. I wanted more than one story mission. I wanted like 2 or 3 that we could play over and over again just to get the feel for it. And to maybe find some secrets or something, but I guess Bungie just wanted to give us one. And I wanted way more than one Crucible map for each game mode. I was expecting like 2 or 3. Because one Crucible map really gets old quick. They're not bad maps, they just get really old once you play a lot of matches on the same Crucible map. So I just think they should have given us a bit more content just so we could get more of a feel for it. And the most disappointing thing for me was the armor. I felt like the armor should have had some kind of perks, and it would have maybe made the beta a little bit better too, because they didn't have any perks. The armor really didn't do anything except for cosmetic, and they would either increase or decrease your armor, recovery, and agility, which are named different things now, but overall, it's what we expected. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.